what you want today. Toxicity is something that's been so approved of that we seem not to even understand who we are. For example, we say things like within our social media platforms, there is a lot of toxicity. True, no lie. But there are also good vibes. There are also people who have information or content that grows. Maybe sometimes you should check within what are the kind of people we follow, what are the kind of content that we have a choice to say not interested, but we choose. What if we filtered our feeds? What if we avoided conversations, I mean physical conversations that would lead to issues that would make us enablers of toxicity? If someone tells you, hey, there's this gossip of ABCD, you have a choice to tell that person, hold up, I don't want to know. First thing, before you even tell me about ABCD, did you try and, face that person and tell them? And if you're telling me, are you telling me from the context that you want my 2 cents on what to do? But if you're telling me so that it could add up to something that would make you feel you've given some type of information, not today, Satan. Not today. Because at the end of the day, we are what we feel. We are what you allow. It's like abuse, being abused. You can be a victim and can turn into an enabler. And sadly, in the same context of like abuse, for example, or bullying, the thing is, until one person stands up, the abuse becomes generational. It continues. One victim moves to another victim, moves to another victim. When does it ever end? When everybody is a victim? But it ends on one person says, not today, Satan. Not today. So as sad as it is, as where we are in society, wherever you choose to look at, whether it's our institutions that govern us, whether it's within our community, whether it's within the people around us, friendships, work, business, wherever it is, toxicity seems to be the one thing that is more promoted. Rage bait, clickbait that will bring rage bait, whichever way you choose to look at it. But at the end of the day, you have a choice as a person to be the one who stands up and say, not today, Satan, not today. But it's a choice. Not many want to make that choice. You see, many people want change, but very few people are willing to change. We have so much information, zero transformation. And that's the saddest part. We have all this information, whichever area you look at, but very few people want to transform. We have many good policies, zero implementation. If an action isn't taken in anything, it's as good as useless. If you have running shoes, I mean like good running shoes, and you don't use it to run, use it to just stay in the house, the value of that running shoe is depreciates because its original value was for you to run, to exercise. But you choose to put it in your closet, it loses its value. If you purchase a car and you don't drive it, and it just stays there so that you can wake up and look and say, hey, I have a car, the value depreciates as much as it's a car. Its value in the context of why, of its utility, depreciates. So it just becomes something to be seen. And the only thing you do is you wash it and clean it up, but that it loses its essence. If you take a giraffe and you put it in water, yet it's made for the land, or when you take a crocodile and place it in land for the longest time, every species, every person has a place of strength. The fact still remains is this: us as individuals have a choice to make. Dysfunctional families are all over. You can be raised in a dysfunctional family, or you could meet people who have been raised in a dysfunctional family. That should not mean because you've been raised in a dysfunctional family that should be a tagline that's placed on you. No one chooses the parents or the siblings, honestly. But we do choose the decisions that we choose to make in that turmoil. You see, just because the waves are tough doesn't mean the ship will say, oh, or the cruise ship will say, you know what, I'm changing my direction. It still goes through. Just because the turbulence in the sky is very strong doesn't mean the pilot will say, and this is where we turn the plane, go backwards, and wait until the storm comes. No, they still go through it. The thing is, no matter how we choose to look at things, we have to make choices, and choices are painful. Because choices means is like pinching yourself. That pain you feel, that pinch you feel, that pain you're like on your nerves. That's how it is. That's change. But if you don't do something about it, you get stuck. If you get stuck, then become member or like I always say, the club of misery loves company. Because most of the people who fall under misery loves company is they know they have a solution, but they're not willing to take that step. They know which way to go, but they choose they're not interested. Then is it really worth it? When you have all the education you've gone through, when you have all the level of exposure, but you can't put it to value, is it of any use? You only know your strength when you put yourself out there. Someone will know your business if your business is advertised or is put out there. Someone will know your skill or talent if you actually put it out there. Beyond that, actually nobody knows and nobody even recognizes. You have to take the risk, get out of comfort and place yourself out there. So in this time where we are in, and if you are the one who has fallen victim of this abuse, you don't have to play the card of the abuser. Nah. They abused, do they did what they did. You know what, they showed you their true colors. You don't need to play the same game so that you can play a win-win. Becomes a lose-lose, because at the end of the day, if you play the game of the abuser, trust me, you'll be the worst abuser. But you can take a step back and say, not today, Satan. Not today. But it's a choice you have to make. You have to look within. You have to look at your heart and the intent of your heart and be honest with yourself. Do you really want this change? And if you're ready for this change, be ready for what comes with it. Because you will go through some tough things depending on what the change will entail. By the end of the day, just because the world embraces toxicity, you don't have to play that game. So anytime you see something toxic run through you and or almost getting close to you, not today, Satan. Not today. Because we have a choice. We can choose to allow or we can choose to reject. Even the devil doesn't force it, he entices. You can say, I'm not interested in that flavor. You know what? I don't prefer that. I prefer peace. Yes, because everybody wants to embrace. And that's why it's easy to see things that are with violence or with chaos be more marketed, but where there's peace and tranquility and authenticity is suppressed. We don't have to play the game where these big companies play or big tech companies play. You can be that one small person, do that one small thing. May not really be a big thing before people, but who cares? Just do the right thing. Keep going. You don't need the world to clap at you. You don't need anyone to clap at you. Just do the right thing and go. Because at the end of the day, doing the wrong thing is very expensive. Evil is expensive. Because when you do wrong to people, you can never sleep right. You always have to look over your shoulder. But when you do the right thing, you have nothing to worry about. Because you hurt no one. You broke no one. You did the right thing. Evil is expensive. Toxicity is expensive. But peace, that's a choice we all have to make. Just because we've been raised and seen the darkness of the world, you don't have to have a darkened heart. You could be the different one, but it's all about a choice. You can choose to be the caterpillar or you can choose to be the butterfly. It's a choice. It's never going to be easy. It's one baby step at a time. Make the mistakes good, you learn, you have an experience. At the end of the day, all I can say, I wish you all the best in every choice and in the changes you make, as I learn in my own step.